Hello, podcast listener. Put on your tool belt and get ready for one heck of a story, and we even have something for you to watch afterwards. You're listening to JJ Meets World, brought to you by JJ Meets World. And by the way, if you'd like to help support our podcast, visit jjmeetsworld.com where you can donate to our Patreon, pick up some killer swag at our merch shop, or click the link to Apple Podcast and give us a 5-star review.
1, 2, 3, 4. JJ Gordon, sort of like that Indiana Jones, in that he's always sniffing out his next adventure. Yes, he is. He's always interviewing guests so he can have them on his show and they can talk about pop culture, arts, and leisure. JJ has his flag unfurled and he likes his french fries curled, and he's fun and then he twirled as he goes to meet the world. He will march into the rain even if his ankle sprained. Take a peek inside his brain. This podcast is called JJ Meets World.
Okay, so just before Tucker hit the record button, he was trying to talk to me about the dilemma that's going on inside my house. And I'm like, dude, just hit the record button. Let's bring the JJ Meets World fold into this. So I live in the house that my grandparents built, that my parents took over from them, and now I live in. And I'm very happy here. I love this house. But this house, it's going to be 70 or... Yeah, oh my God, it'll be 70 years old in less than 2 years.
Damn.
And so this old girl needs some upgrades, right? Needs just some love. And my parents did a major remodel in 1994. They did another one like in 99. And so they've spent time refurbishing this house over the years. And now it's kind of my turn. So I redid the master bedroom and the master bathroom. And the plan was always to take care of the other 2 bathrooms in my house. I have a guest bathroom that feeds into 2 bedrooms upstairs. We call it the pink bathroom because the fixtures, the tub, the toilet, and the sink are these pale pinks that were very popular in the 50s. And then in my basement, I've got a bathroom that's just sort of adjacent to like a living room area that gets used a lot when I'm watching movies and we're just hanging out. And that one is very much stuck like in the 1980s from the linoleum and the wood and blah, 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 blah. And that one actually had a little bit of got redone in like 96 because there used to be a pocket shower in there and we changed it out to a larger shower and got rid of a window. So there would be no sneaking out of that bathroom. So let's go to 6:00 in the morning on Sunday. Jill gets up almost every day at 6 a.m., even on the weekends, and lets George out, and then usually goes to what she calls phase 2. And phase 2 is sleeping on the couch. So Jill gets up, she does these things, and then she comes upstairs and wakes me up and says, JJ, you got to come downstairs. There's a problem in the downstairs bathroom. So I get up and I go to the downstairs bathroom, and sure enough, there's a giant bubble in the ceiling. Like the ceiling is sagging and there's water running everywhere. Drip, 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 drip. And I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. This is the worst thing that you could ever imagine. It means that water has been building up and pooling from some place inside the, ceiling. So I go get a razor and I cut open this thing like like I'm Dr. Pimple Popper, and water just gushes out, fills a bucket. So much water comes out. So I go and I put on gloves and I'm like, I got to rip part of the ceiling. I got to find out where this leak is coming from. Meanwhile, upstairs, the pink bathroom, I knew that there was something wrong because part of the linoleum bubbled a little bit. And when you see linoleum that has bubbled or paint that's bubbled, it means that there's moisture. Some kind of moisture was trapped. And it has caused, a little bit of expansion, and then it goes back. Essentially, it's the stretch marks of the construction world. And so I knew something was wrong, but I had kind of put it off, been like, I'll take care of this. I'll deal with this later. What a fool was I. Well, was some kind of a problem where the toilet must have been not running, but essentially leaking. Enough was leaking out of the bowl that it was refilling itself, but it was refilling itself without having to run completely. It was just like drop, 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 drop. So I take the toilet off, and it's very corroded underneath where like you would put a wax ring. And here's a good tip for everybody. I know it sucks, but like once every 3 years, take your toilet off of its like where it's bolted to the ground and just take a gander underneath and make sure everything's draining. Put a new wax ring on it. I mean, human beings, we sit on the toilet, and I know we're not like, wiggling back and forth, but we are probably doing something that is sort of wearing away at that wax ring a little bit. And if I had done this 5 or 6 years ago, it would have made a difference. Now, the real irony here is, Tucker, you know it, I know it, I have a favorite toilet. There's a brand and a style of toilet that I think is the best.
Yeah, if JJ needs the power.
I want it to flush 10 golf balls. I also want the fact that like it's a taller toilet. It has got straight sides, so the cleaning's really easy, and it's got an elongated seat. It's my favorite toilet. I actually figured out today when I was talking with a contractor, I've installed that toilet 9 times. 9 times have I put that toilet into either my home or somebody else's home. Now, because we wanted to keep the aesthetic of this cute retro pink bathroom, I haven't ever replaced that toilet. And so if I would have replaced that toilet, I would have been like, oh, there's no wax ring. That's messed up. And we never would have gotten to this. So I'm downstairs. I end up having to take down 2/3 of the ceiling in the bathroom, because the water is just like, I can see it and it's drywall over drywall. So I'm pulling down chunks of this stuff. It's very messy. It's gross. I found a little bit of mold behind one, which makes me think that this has been going on for longer than I think. And so I just start working on it, and I get all this stuff done, and I look up and I can see exactly where, excuse me, I'm yawning because I'm hungry, not because I'm tired.
That was a hungry yawn.
That was a hungry yawn. I can see that the water is, in fact, coming from leaking around the toilet bowl.
Oof.
And so I've already taken the toilet bowl off upstairs. I cut it open to expose like where the subfloor is underneath the linoleum. And I'm like, okay, well, this has got to dry out, but it's wet. Now, I can't put my finger through the plywood, the subfloor, which is really good, because if I could have put my finger through it, it would have meant that the leak's been going so long that it's rotted through. But that does nothing to help me in the downstairs bathroom. So the downstairs bathroom looks like a disaster, but functionally, the sink, the toilet, the shower, all working. Upstairs in the pink bathroom, which looks the most okay, the tub doesn't work because I have been meaning to turn that into a shower, so I just have rough plumbing stubbed in, and the toilet doesn't work, but the sink works. Mm-hmm. So I go from thinking, you know what, I'll spruce up one of these bathrooms at some time, to now I have to remodel 2 bathrooms at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I end up having right, exactly. And here's the other problem too. I think that I can do it. I think I can get, I can't do the electrical because I don't like that. I don't do the plumbing, but I'm like, I can do the rest of it. Sure. Why not? Right. I can take care of it. That's easy. Come on, man. That's such a stupid thing to think.
Yeah.
And so
it's going to cost you one way or the other.
Right. And it's going to cost me my time. It's going to cost me my sanity.
Yep.
Or it's going to cost me dollars. Well, both of them are going to cost me dollars, but one just going to cost me significantly more than the other. So I decide, you know what? I'm going to be a smart boy, and I'm going to call a contractor.
Nice.
And so just before we started recording, I had a contractor come over, and we walked through both the bathrooms. I actually really like this guy a lot, and he came up with some good stuff right off the bat. We talked about, not only what this project's going to look like, and, he gets it. He's like, listen, I understand. Your house was built in 1957. You don't want a bathroom. Like, do you watch Bob's Burgers, Tucker?
I've seen it.
There's an episode where his landlord, Mr. Fishoder, has Mr. Fishoder's brother remodel his bathroom, and it's done like in black tile, and they bring a DJ in, and like he's talking, he's like, Hefe, just put the tile on the boat. Put the tile on the boat. Don't ask any questions. And he's like, you don't want something ultra modern. It would look out of place. And I'm like, thank God you know what I'm talking about. And then we explored the fact that he's like, okay, so the basement bathroom, let's talk about what we could do with that. And so I said, well, This one, since it's essentially the bathroom for that downstairs living room. We have one downstairs bedroom and then my office. And he said, okay, well, what if this is your oasis bathroom? This is the one where we put in a bunch of spa things. And so when you need to get away, this is the bathroom you go to. You don't have to worry about constantly like having a bunch of other stuff in there like you do about the master bathroom. He goes, it's an upgraded version of like a guest bathroom. I said, that sounds good. And so we started talking about a steam shower.
Mm.
And I love the idea of a steam shower. And he goes, and if you do steam shower, we should do under the tile heat. So like your floors are always heated.
Those are nice.
It have a heated tiled bench and back in the steam shower so that when you sit down, it's already warm when you sit there. And I was like, dude, you are speaking my language. Let's rock and roll. I love this idea. Then he threw out some numbers, and then I said, oh, well, I think that I just heard my butt suck itself into my body. But that being said, I did get to the point where I was like, listen, if I'm going to make an investment in my house, I might as well make an investment in my house. Now, this is where I go into uncharted territory. I've only had one bank loan in my entire life, and it was to buy my most recent car. And it was only because there was 0.0% interest. And someone said, well, you can make more leaving your money in the stock market for 5 years rather than, just buying the car and paying it off straight up. So I was like, okay, so I did that, and that was fine. But now I'm in a situation where I have to figure out how I'm going to do this. Now, there's so many different products that you can use. Like, you could get a line of credit that is attached to the fact that, like, I've got my house paid off. There is, a home remodeling loan that I could take out. There's, borrowing against a 401k. There is, just saying like, listen, I'm going to take money out of investments and pay straight up for it. I've got, all these things, and I'm sort of like, I'm running around like a chicken with its head cut off because I just don't understand what would be the best financially for me. And I wish I knew more about that. I honestly wish that I had taken more time and understood more about how loan structures work and what the best case scenario is for each element. Like, I know that there's a world where they're like, oh, a personal line of credit is good for this, this, and this, but you want to take out a loan if you're talking about blank, versus you don't want to take out a line of credit when you're, like, don't buy lottery tickets with your line of credit. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things I need to educate myself on. So I'm actually probably one of these days going to have to go in and talk to a banker. In fact, I know there's a banker who listens to this show because he and I just had a catch up the other day. Hi, Jeff. How are you? Jeff, I'm going to come in and talk to you, and you're going to tell me how to get money and how to do things with that money.
But even with solving the financial aspect of it, I mean, just you as the homeowner are now going, God damn it, I just had the roof in my living room, and that tore up the house for a certain amount of time. And now you're looking at 2 bathrooms being remodeled at the same time.
Yep.
And so I would assume you're also going, yeah, even with the financials figured out in a way that makes sense, there's still a big headache for the next couple of months because this is going to take time.
Tucker, we are talking mid-May right now, okay? I asked this guy, I was like, here's your $1 million question. How long? And he goes, from the time of the deposit paid, 5 months.
Oh, wow.
So let's say in a perfect world, we get the design done within the next month. I'm looking at like November, like having my bathrooms done in November. And it's not that. And like I said, that basement bathroom is virtually fine with the exception of their giant exposed walls. But
mm-hmm. And is that just because they've got so much work behind them?
Yeah. I mean, this company, I really do like this company a lot. We've done some work with them, like even in my radio job. And they are full contractors. I hope whoever's listening to this isn't tired because I'm just yawning throughout the whole thing. But it's because I'm hungry.
I'm hungry.
So, they don't do like subcontractors, right? So they have their own electrician, their own plumber, their, all of this stuff. So you're not having to work with like 6 different companies and six different schedules. So when they show up ready to go, and they're on top of it. There's no problem with using subcontractors. I've done it many times with many other jobs, but I was like, I just don't want the headache. If I'm going to pay for this, I would like to not worry about anything. Like, let somebody else just deal with it, right?
Yep,
it's the same reason why I don't walk behind the counter at McDonald's and be like, here, let me drop the fries while you guys make the burger. I just want you to hand me my bag.
Yep. Exactly.
So I'm a sad panda, and that sucks, but it'll be fine, right? Like, I'll live through it. And
as a sad panda, you said you're hungry. Are you going to have bamboo?
No, I can't eat bamboo anymore because I'm tired of the tongue splinters. No, actually, Jill had recommended this recipe, and so I'm trying it in a slow cooker, and it's called like 5-minute great meat. And it's, and what it is like you put stew meat into a crock pot, and then there's like cream of chicken noodle soup, and then beef onion Lipton soup mix, and a couple other things. Oh my God,
JJ, 5-minute great meat is the episode title.
Does it sound like a Tim and Eric, like 5-minute great meat?
Yeah, it sounds like it comes in a can.
By the way, this is a total, I'm going to take a very hard left here, okay? Think of it like a bank robbery getaway car. Do you know what I've been watching lately and almost peeing my pants? I've been laughing so hard. Tom Goes to the Mayor. When was the last time you watched any Tom Goes to the Mayor?
A decade plus, for sure.
Oh my God. Dude, so Tom Goes to the Mayor is one of the cheapest made shows you're ever going to see. And it's done in an animation style where they take photos and then they overlay the photos and put people against like backgrounds. And so when you watch it, it's very crude in a lot of the way that it works, but it's so funny. And it's Tim Heidecker and Eric Wareheim, and it's pre-Tim and Eric awesome show, great job. And Eric Wareheim plays the mayor of this town, and Tim Heidecker is a guy who comes in and always has an idea for something to help the town. And episodes include one of them is they go to pipe camp, which is a summer camp themed around smoking pipes. There's an episode where Tom pitches the idea for a buffet restaurant themed after World War II. And the mayor's nephew, like a little 12-year-old boy, gets involved, and he opens it as a Chuck E. Cheese ripoff called WW Lasers. There's an amazing episode, the Christmas episode, where Tom starts selling these shirts that say "Rats Off" to you with a picture of a rat in a top hat. And Jeff Garland is this guy who owns a kiosk in the mall. And Jeff Garland's like, "Rats off to you. That's amazing." And then steals the idea. You can watch all of Tom Goes to the Mayor on YouTube. All of it. All of it.
That from a production standpoint, it feels like that had to have been one of the cheapest shows to make, with the exception of like the talent that they hired.
Right.
To voice it.
Like, and at that time, I mean, these people were like, there were people who were, well-known comedians who were a part of it. But I feel like even that, I mean, you'd probably have to come in and you'd probably have to record the dialogue, which would take you 3 hours maybe, and then you'd have to take just a bunch of random photos with random expressions, and they would work it in however they needed to work it in.
Yeah, they would just run it through like Photoshop elements and make the scene just So what a good show.
While I'm in my midlife crisis, I'm enjoying like watching media that I haven't had a chance to see in a while, and that's one of those things that I'm really leaning into. It's real good stuff.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So it's crisis after crisis in my house right now. I can't believe how many crises I am having to handle at one time, but I will have new bathrooms soon, and I have an idea for a TV show that I need to pitch to you, Tucker, but I can't say it on here because it's actually a really good idea. and I want to do it, but I don't want someone to steal it from me, because sometimes I think I'm living in like what was that Jim Carrey movie where he's being taped all the time?
The Truman Show.
The Truman Show. Sometimes I think I'm in the Truman Show and people are stealing my good ideas and doing things with them. So I don't want that to happen anymore. I don't want any more stealing of my ideas. It's a glue trap, but for humans. That's going to wrap it up for today's show. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to help us continue to produce new episodes each week, visit jjmeetsworld.com, where you can donate to our Patreon, pick up some swag at the merch shop, or follow our link to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all the sites the cool kids are using these days. JJ Meets World is produced every week by Tucker Lucas. You can find out more about Tucker's work by visiting moonbasemaria.com. If you want to get in touch with your host with the most, check out linebenders.com, where you can find direct contact info for JJ or booking information. When I tore down the ceiling in my bathroom, I just kept thinking, no poop, no poop, no poop, no poop.